As the ladies in the back get their food, we're going to start. Now, I want you guys to know that I'm open to questions, so if you have any question about anything that I'm talking about and it seems like it's coming from Mars or Jupiter, you just want to stop me and ask me about it, okay? Because I want you, this is an educational event and I need you to understand how important this particular lifestyle intervention program is, okay? And at the end, I'm going to ask you guys to, how you see your health in the next 25 to 50 years. How do you see yourself from a health perspective? Have a seat. Yeah. Okay, so welcome and good evening. Thank you so much for coming. The 8 Weeks to Wellness program is a lifestyle intervention program. We adopted the program from a group of chiropractors, brother and sister, who developed it. It was heavy on the chiropractic side, but it has a lot of other modalities that really has a positive impact on the metabolic syndrome. And that's one word I want you guys to take away tonight. What is the metabolic syndrome? I'm going to define that for you, okay? But I will tell you that 60% of people in America, 6 out of 10 people have it. What is the nation's #1 killer? What kills people in this country? Give me an answer. What do you think kills most people?
Weight.
Heart disease, right? Strokes, heart attacks. That's the #1 killer. What is the #2 killer? Cancer. So heart disease is like way, way, way high, then you have cancer, all right? So metabolic syndrome gives you heart disease. And so if you want to live long, you have to prevent being a metabolic syndrome person. And I'm going to go through what that is. All right. So we've been doing it since 2015. This is one of our patients. I thought he'd be here tonight. When he came to us, he was about 305 pounds. And he did the program. And he lost about 65 pounds. He got down to 235 pounds. And then he got off the program, didn't do his maintenance, had some personal problems and went back up to about 290. Started the program again, and in the last 8 weeks of this program, he's now down another 20. So he's back down now to 270. The program works when you stick to it. These are some testimonials. This young lady was a patient of mine. She actually worked for us for about 6 months in the Regen Center. She's a flight attendant, and she loved what the program did for her, so she actually volunteered for about 6 months and then came on, worked for us. She basically was on a lot of medications for a lot of things, and now she's healthy, she's on no medication, and she has Michelle Obama arms. This is our office manager. I've been with this young lady since we started in 2002. And she's Panamanian. And she did the program in 2015 and lost about 24 pounds, lost a lot of body fat. And she is much more healthier than she had been in the past. So the program works. So I'm going to ask you, why are you here tonight? Is it because the doctor told you to come? Some of you may say that. Is it because you need to make a change and you're not feeling well in your body physically? Right? Or is it because your spouse told you to come? Or maybe your niece or your brother. Oh, maybe you realize that you can't do it by yourself. So you say, hey, let me come and check out, see what the 8 Weeks to Wellness program is. All right, so you have to tell me why, and you know why you're here, but this program works. This is a case history. This is my brother, and it's very personal to me, and I tell this story because I think it's important for you to realize that the metabolic syndrome hits all corners of life. You know, personal, your friends, your families, your co-workers. And it hit my brother. We do have history of hypertension in our family. It's a very common thing. That's one of the components of metabolic syndrome, is high blood pressure. And at the age of 59, he had a stroke. He had high blood pressure for a long time. It didn't just happen all of a sudden. But he was not compliant. He didn't like to take the medicines. And he didn't want to do the other thing, which is to lose weight, exercise, and eat healthy. So you can't do both. It's either you're going to take the medicine and have the side effects of medicines, or you're going to change your lifestyle, get the weight off of you, and prevent chronic disease. He didn't. He had a stroke. It didn't affect him physically that much. Yes, he lost some coordination. He's not that strong anymore. But the biggest impact is his speech. So he's now disabled at the age of 63. And, you know, basically he's just not the same person anymore. And I just remember telling him time and time and beating him up, and he wouldn't listen. And when I see him, it just it makes me get choked up, because I know that he's just not happy with where he is right now. And to kind of reverse that, it's very, very difficult. So you don't want to have the metabolic syndrome. The second component of metabolic syndrome is your weight, being overweight. So I gave you one, hypertension. Second, being overweight or obese. Being overweight, if you think of being overweight, you're like 20, 30 pounds overweight. If you're over 30 pounds overweight, you're in the obese category, right? And it depends on your distribution, because you could be 250 pounds, but you're solid rock or running back for the Falcons. But if you're 250 and everything moves when you walk, then that's where the problem comes in. So that's my brother Melvin. So, question for all of you. This is 10 stars. Right now, today, if you had to give a rate of what your health is, where would you put it? 1 star? 10 stars is the max. Would you say 2 stars? 5 stars? What would you say, Mr. Collis? Where would you put yourself right now, today?
7.
7 stars. Okay.
Yeah, I like that number, 7.
Lucky 7? Okay. Well, I think most people will give themselves between a 5 and a 6. And what direction you go, towards 1 or towards 10, really depends upon how you live your life. The foods you eat, the amount of activity you get in your life, how you deal with stress. Because stress is a killer. Stress causes so many things that you don't even know, because you're just living your life. You know, worrying, being preoccupied with paying bills, you know, going to work, and not really looking and see the damage of what all these stressors, this worry is doing to your body. So, let me ask you another question. This question is for you. Do you think we live in a healthy country or a sick country?
Probably sick.
You say sick? Yeah. Do you agree with her?
I would say sick.
You would say sick. Why would you say sick? Give me 1 or 2 things.
Well, because everybody, well, I'm going to say everybody, the majority of people are unhealthy. They are overweight or have high blood pressure, diabetes, or something. Some type of
Absolutely.
illness.
So true. Yeah, we live in a very sick country, and it's not so much, I think when you look at the foods that we eat, you know, the processing of our foods, when you look at the environment, the air we breathe, right, the way the foods are slammed with hormones, antibiotics, pesticides, herbicides. I mean, we have conditions now that are just far-reaching than it was in days past when we were eating more natural, organic foods. So the environment has changed, and so we live in a sick country. So America, the beautiful, America the great, we make up only 4% of the population worldwide. 4%. Yet we spend over $10,000 per person in 2015 on healthcare, more than double any other country. England, Germany, Canada, we spend more money per capita on our citizens on healthcare. Yet we take over 50% of all the drugs in the world prescribed. 50%, half of it. And 86% of the dollar is spent on chronic conditions like high blood pressure, like diabetes, like rheumatoid arthritis, like multiple sclerosis. All of those are chronic conditions that require us to spend lots of money monthly getting a prescription refill all the time, over and over and over. Very costly to treat chronic disease. So do we have the answers? Despite all the advances in medicine, Americans are less healthy than they used to, and the next generation is going to be even worse off. Because when I was growing up in the 70s, you know, we had one kid in the class that they called a bad name like Fatso, you know. Now you go into the classroom, at least half the kids are overweight, and probably another third are obese. So the kind of foods that they were eating and the way the food is being processed and the lack of activity is definitely contributing to the disease processes that we're seeing today. So the New York Times says this is insane. We're 4% of the population, and look, we're spending all this money and we're not getting the bang for our dollar. This is where our healthcare dollar is going, drugs. You know, I'll have patients, I've been a doctor now for 24 years, and I'll have patients telling me that, just give me the pill. They just want the pill. Every drug in the PDR has 2 lines on what it does, and then another 2 pages on side effects and things that could happen. Yet still, people just want the drug. I'm not saying that I'm not against drugs. I think if you're sick, you need a drug. An infection, yeah, take the antibiotic. You know, but to have to be on a drug for a long time, if you have high blood pressure, yes, you should be on a drug until you make those changes in your body so your body can then get rid of the hypertension. You don't have to be on a drug for the rest of your life. You can let nutrients work for you. But you have to do everything else. The meditation, the relaxation, handling stress properly to get off these medications. Okay, so here's how much money we're spending every year on drugs. Anybody ever heard of Humira? Well, they have commercials on TV for it. It's a drug that suppresses our immune system. They use it to treat chronic disease like rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, inflammatory bowel disease. So it's a immunosuppressant. It suppresses your immune system. Side effect list goes long and long and long. $8.2 billion is what we spend on. $1 billion, not million, billion. Abilify. What is Abilify? Has anybody ever heard of that? You ever heard of that drug? Do you know what it is?
I believe it boosts antidepressants.
Exactly. So we're depression, big thing. Why are people depressed most of the time? Do you know why people are depressed? Money. You think money can buy happiness? No, money can't buy happiness. What it is people are depressed, if you had to one sentence, because there are some things that they want that they can't have. They may want their son to go to medical school, They may want their daughter to be a model. They may want a promotion in the job. And something didn't work out for them. So it didn't work out. Their life is not going in the way they want it to go. So instead of being a mass murderer, they decide they would just get depressed, and it gets internalized, and then you get hormonal shifts with serotonin and acetylcholine and all the brain shifts, and they get depressed. Versus just going and say, I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to work it out, work that stress out. But people get depressed based on that. Shifts in the neurotransmitter caused by lifestyle stressors. Not saying that there's not a genetic propensity for it, because there is, but just because you have it in your genes don't mean you have to get it. This drug here, Solvadil, that's the treatment of hepatitis C. It's an infectious disease. Crestor, what is that used for? Cholesterol. It's one of those statin medications. Enbrel, you ever heard of this one, Enbrel? No? Another immunosuppressant. Harvoni, another one for hepatitis C, 5.3 billion. Nexium, what is Nexium for?
Reflux or something?
Aaliyah, what is Dr. Aaliyah, my student doctor, what is it for?
It's for GERD.
It's for acid reflux, GERD, peptic ulcer disease. People who get that are probably a little bit stressed, right? Okay. Advir, do you know what that's for? Asthma. Lantus, what is that one for? Insulin, it's an insulin, so what is it for?
Diabetes.
There you go. Yeah, type 2 diabetes mostly. And then Remicade is another immunosuppressant. So when you look at this list, billions of dollars that are being sold, you can say Remicade, immunosuppressant, Enbrel, immunosuppressant, Numerol, immunosuppressant. Between those three immunosuppressants, those are all for autoimmune disease. That is what's changed. We never had this much autoimmune disease before. So something in the environment, something in the food, the way we're processing it, is causing this. We are getting leaky gut, inflammatory bowel disease, and it's creating our body to produce antibodies against ourself. If it produces against the thyroid, you get a thyroid problem. If it produces against the joints, you get a rheumatoid arthritis. If it produces it against the kidneys or the lining of the lung, you get lupus. And so you have over 40 autoimmune disease caused from stress, poor diet, and just not handling it correctly, poor nutrition. Autoimmune disease. Okay, so this is Abilify, and we talked about how, what it does as an antidepressant. So serious side effects may include an increased risk of stroke. Many strokes have been reported in clinical studies of elderly people with dementia-related psychosis. But this is the kind of stuff that you want to take, and you see how much people are on it, billions of dollars, right? Now, statins. Statins drugs lower cholesterol, but the biggest fallacy is that cholesterol is the reason why we have high cardiovascular disease. That is not. Let me just tell you this. You have, let's say you have 100 people that have a heart attack in 1 year. 25% of them will have high cholesterol. 50% of them will have normal cholesterol, and 25% of them will have low cholesterol. So how do you figure that these 25% that had the heart attack is from the high cholesterol? There are other factors. It's not just high cholesterol. So they have everybody running on the bandwagon. You should, for primary prevention, to prevent heart attacks, you got to be on statins. Statins now they're recommending if you're on a statin, you should get checked for diabetes. Because why? Statins cause diabetes. Well, then statins also causes a reduction of iron absorption, calcium absorption. So now you're getting anemia and you're getting osteoporosis. So you're taking these drugs to prevent one thing when all you have to do is to eat healthy, exercise, and not take this stuff. Take more nutrients. But this is what happened. It's a big controversy. Now, if you've had a heart attack and you have high cholesterol, there's nothing wrong with taking a medicine for that. But you shouldn't be on it for primary prevention. They're pushing statins now in kids as young as 8 years old. It's a crime. All right, so how long do you want to live? What's a good age for you to live to?
95.
95, okay. So do you want to live to be 95 with all your faculties, or do you want to be 95 when you're in the nursing home and you can't do anything, get out of bed yourself, you need help for that? So what is that? That's the quality of your life, right? So it's not just quantity of life, it's quality of life. And you want to be able to move, and you want to be able to enjoy your life with good movement, to think properly. So that's the quality, that's the Q2. It's the quantity, but also the quality. So questions is either die young or suffer when you're old. The average life expectancy in this country is 78.2 years. And the bottom line is that it all depends on how you live. Here's a study from the Journal of the American Medical Association. It talks about the things that causes early demise. These are the top ones. Dietary risk, tobacco use, high blood pressure, high body mass index, which is pretty much obesity, no exercise or low physical exercise, high blood sugar, and high cholesterol. Poor diet was responsible for 670,000 deaths. Cigarette smoking, another 460,000 deaths. High blood pressure, 450,000 deaths. Being obese by itself, 380,000 deaths. Not exercising, 240,000 deaths. Having diabetes and high blood sugar, another 205,000 deaths. And then having a high cholesterol, 160,000 deaths. So 2.5 million people. These are the top health risks according to the Journal of the American Medical Association. So here we are. This is about the metabolic syndrome. This is your takeaway point. You don't want to have the metabolic syndrome, because when you do, you're at risk for heart disease, cholesterol problems, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, dementia, early dementia. People are losing their minds earlier than ever before. More cancer. Young women are getting this disorder when they're obese. It's called PCOS, or polycystic ovarian disease. And they're getting a fatty liver. Now, the most common reason for hepatitis is what we call fatty liver disease, just from being overweight. Not from alcohol anymore, from being overweight. So metabolic syndrome has these 5 things. If your waist, and if I was to measure you guys individually in here tonight, you probably wouldn't let me because it would be in a public place. But if your waist is over 40 and you're a man, that is a major risk for metabolic syndrome. If you're a woman and it's over 35, that is a major risk. If your triglycerides, the fat in your blood, if that's over 150, that's a risk. The good cholesterol, we want that to be high. So, you know, when I talked about cholesterol, sometimes the total cholesterol may be high, but you may have good cholesterol that's high. It needs to be over 40 in men and over 50 in women. And your blood pressure should be under 130/85, and your sugar should be under 100 on a fasting. So these are the things that make up, and 60% of people are walking around with these metabolic derangements that's causing heart disease, it's causing cancer, it's causing liver disease. These people have the metabolic syndrome. So who wants to get the metabolic syndrome? Any hands? By a show of hands. Who has the metabolic syndrome? Okay. All right, so I'm going to ask you, how would you define health?
Wow. That's a good question.
It's heavy. It's a heavy question.
Mentally and physically in the balance. And where happiness is included, as well as basically doing everything that's required to maintain a healthy balance. Well, health, I can't use the word.
Can't use that.
But to develop the balance between the mind and the body to live in a very
You're trying to say health again.
I know.
Yeah, you can't say health. All right. I'm going to have, can you try for me? What is health for you?
For me,
Yes, you.
health to me is a way of life. Well, should I say it's the result of a way of life. Depending on the way you live your life, your health is, I look at it as a way of life.
A way of life. Very close. All right. Liz?
What he said.
Aaliyah?
Health. Maintaining a balance to create longevity in your life.
I like that too. Well, health is really about function. When you have good function, then you can adapt to stressors, because I talked about stress before. But can we live a stress-free life? Do you know anybody who has no stress in their lives? Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much non-existent. We're all going to have stressors. And so you're healthy when your body is able to adapt to stress. That is what health is. And you have to give your body what? Good food, water, good oxygen, good activity, all the stuff it needs, so you build your body up to resist the stressors. And I'm going to show you what the stressors are. So the body's ability to successfully adapt to stress.
Isn't that good stress and bad stress as well?
Well, good stress can be bad stress.
Having a baby or something like that. That's a good
Yeah,
stress.
yeah, it's a good stress, but then, okay, and then it produces other bad stress, right? Okay, all I'm saying, getting a promotion, you may think that's good, but then you get into a job that has all these other things that you didn't foresee, and now you're stressed out beyond belief. So, but anyway, these are the type of stressors. You have traumatic stress, you have thoughts. You know, we can really mess up our mind by thinking thoughts, bad thoughts. And the thought things, we spent a couple of minutes, your job, grief, time, anger, school, relationships, family. If we all have a family, we know how that can be. Toxins, these are the stuff that I've been emphasizing. The drugs that we take put stress on our bodies, and these bad foods, the processed foods, the refined sugars that now the FDA has approved many of these for us to eat, knowing that it's causing disease. So you have to be your own detective. You have to learn how to eat. And nobody's going to tell you how to do that. You'll see so many things people are pushing this, they're pushing that. You know, but the bottom line is that there is a right way to live and to be healthy, to build up your body, to build your core and your immune system so that you're not going to get a chronic disease. So here, this is what you need. The 8 Weeks to Wellness program. We're going to teach you all of that. We're going to teach you how you should move better, how you could move better, how to sleep better, how to eat better, and how to think better. You have to control how you think. And a lot of people don't think they can do that, but you can. The power of positive thinking. You know, when a negative thought comes into your mind, replace it immediately with something positive. Because whatever you think, you become. So put positive things, and then you're going to be positive, and good things are going to happen to you. Think positive. You're going to wake up, I'm going to win $1 million today. I'm going to find it. I'm going to meet the man of my dreams. I'm going to, you just have to think positive. If it doesn't happen, tomorrow's another day. You were given another day to go out and to think about these things. Just think positive. So here are the 4 things. I think you guys are pretty convinced that lifestyle is important, but if you weren't, they did this study with 500,000 people, and they looked at the people who didn't smoke, they exercised 3.5 hours a week, they kept their BMI, their body mass index, under 30, and they ate a healthy diet which consists of fruits, vegetables, beans, whole grains, nuts, seeds, limited amount of red meat, and moderate alcohol intake. And what they found, they followed these people, 500,000 people, for 8 years. They found that these people had 93% less incidence of diabetes, 81% less heart attacks, 50% less strokes, 36% less cancer, and 14 additional years of life. This is called the EPIC study. So I'm not talking crap. Lifestyle works. Let food be your medicine. Don't let anybody tell you that you should just take the pill. Take the pill. You get diabetes. Live a healthy lifestyle. So we talked about the metabolic syndrome, but the top 3 things are when your blood pressure is up, when your waist is up, your waistline is up, and when your total weight is up, and blood pressure. The big 3. So how do you do it? Here are the components of the 8 Weeks to Wellness program. There is chiropractic adjustments. And I'm going to show you some evidence of why chiropractic helps. There is good nutrition, and I'm going to show you what that is. There's fitness training, because you can't do it by yourself. You know that Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods all had personal trainers? The best athletes in the world have somebody telling them what to do. Because it's not something that you roll out of bed and the first thing you want to do is to go get on a treadmill or to go to the gym and lift weights. I mean, we can talk our way out of that stuff in a minute. So when you have a trainer who's going to hold you accountable so you can get up, get things done. Hey, fitness training. Meditation, how to deal with stress, and mindfulness. We teach you how to do that. And then massage. It's 6:45. All right, so this is basically the program, the 8 Weeks to Wellness program. Let me get a little bit into more. We're going to be finished in about 5 minutes. So pay attention. Chiropractic, the spine is very important. It houses the brain from the skull and the spinal cord. Every single cell has a nerve root. The brain tells the cells what to do. If you have any slippage along the way, you're going to interfere with the signaling from the brain to, they say, your liver or to your kidneys. So it's very important that you have proper posture. Chiropractic adjustments ensure that. This is what happens as you get older. Arthritis sinks in, your head feels heavier, and then you start bending over. This is what happens when you have a tight erector spinae muscle. As you get older, you have to do the things that you need to do to stay young. And you can stay young and be physiologically young. What gets me is that I'll see most patients, as they get into their 30s, they start reminiscing. Oh, I remember when I was in high school. Yeah, I used to be 125 pounds, I used to be able to do this. We just had a 5K, a Picture of Health 5K. And the guy who won the race was 59 years old. He ran 6-minute miles. It's all about conditioning. It's all about how you eat, what you do to yourself. Getting old don't mean it's a death sentence that you have to carry around 40, 50 extra pounds. You can still be lean. At 60, at 70, at 80, at 90, you can still be lean. You don't have to have that. We just get lazy. Our brain tells us we're getting old, so now we act old. So, no. I'm 57, and I tell you, I feel, the time that I did this last race, that time was better than the time that I ran when I was 45. So, I'm getting younger, so I don't know about you guys. So yeah, this is just arthritis in the neck, and that happens. So chiropractic is very, very important. Look at this British Medical Journal study on chiropractic. They looked at a study of senior citizen, and they all received chiropractic adjustments for 5 years. They had 21% less hospitalization, 50% fewer medical visits, 40% less prescriptions, and then 31% less than the national average that were spent on medication and medical care. And so I look at chiropractic adjustment as prophylactic, you know, like exercise. Here's nutrition. Remember this, FUSOB. Take this home. FUSOB. 5 meals a day, not 3. I don't know where 3 meals a day came from, because you shouldn't be hungry, starving before you eat your next meal. You should be ready to eat, but not ravished where you have to make these rash decisions like the Snicker bar or the Twinkie or the slice of cake. You don't want those selections. You want to eat a good balanced meal consisting of protein and vegetables and healthy foods. You want to eliminate sugar. Sugar causes disease. Sugar, you should not be eating it. Period. Eliminate processed foods. Drink water. Salud. Half your body weight every day should be in water. Let's say you're 200 pounds. You should be drinking 100 ounces of water if you're 200 pounds every day. Portion matters. You can't eat an 18-ounce porterhouse steak and just think that that's going to work for you. What's going to happen when you put that much calories in your body at the same time? The body starts storing things. Storing all that energy. What is the most efficient way for the body to store extra energy? Tell me. Fat. It turns everything into fat. You know, that's very, very dense energy. When you see somebody that's fat or obese, they have a lot of energy. You can just pick them up, stick them in the desert, give them enough water, and say, here's water, drink water. And they will outlive any skinny guy out there because they have a lot of energy. They have a lot of pent-up energy. Okay, so yeah, that's energy. Just look at it that way. So size matters. Portion control 5 times a day. Saucer full, not supersized portions. Nice, normal portions. 1 ingredient foods. Apple. Broccoli. Potato. You know, if it comes in a plastic bag and it's processed, it's most likely not good for you. Probably going to have too much salt or too much sugar. And then balancing your nutrients. Some people find that hard to do, but really, if you just eat meat, vegetables, and fruit, you're going to be fine. Exercise. The bad E word. So, as you get older, the difference between a 17-year-old boy and a 50-year-old man has to do with muscle mass. The 17-year-old has a testosterone level of about 1,000. The 55-year-old guy has a testosterone level of about 250, 300, right? Normally, that's what you'd see. So the 55-year-old guy has less muscle. He has more body fat. The young kid is just lean because he's got different hormones. And he may be eating worse foods than the older guy. So as you get older, there's some certain decline. Hormones change. So you have to do what you need to do, balancing your hormones to make sure that you are going to stay lean and you're going to stay healthy. And that's one of the things that we do here. We do bioidentical hormone replacement. Actually, that's probably our most popular item. Exercise, you want to do 30 minutes a day, and it decreases your chances of cancer by 50%. So you should do it. And here's the difference between fat and muscle. Fat, 5 pounds of fat takes up this much space. 5 pounds of muscle takes up this much space. So fat expands, right? So the first thing people start working on, and they're not losing weight, but then their pants is falling off. They're like, okay, well, I'm still the same weight because you've just burnt fat and replaced it with muscle, and so you've lost inches. So the scale, just measuring the weight, is not a good predictor of how well you're doing. We do body composition analysis. Massage. Has anybody here had a massage? It's one of the components. Look at all the good things. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity. You need to communicate with your massage therapist. Tell them where it hurts. Tell them what feels good so they can do it again and again. I like a scalp massage. So sometimes it just feels like, wow, you know, like you're just removing all that stressor when you get your scalp massage. But science has shown that massage therapy reduces stress, reduces pain and muscle tension, and it's helpful for anxiety. I had a guy this week came in, he was anxious. I said, you need a massage. So the massage therapist was there. He said, we just wheeled him in. He came out, he was like, oh. He was so happy after he got out. Right, Laura? Is that true? Anxiety and digestive issues, IBS, irritable bowel issues. People, when they get anxious and nervous and stressed, big deal with their abdomen. Okay, so when you sign up for this program, you got to sign a commitment saying that you're going to complete the program. And ideally, you need to be here for the full 8 weeks. If you have to travel, then we have to make it up. But it's a commitment. It's like doing a semester in college, and you want to learn how to do the stuff. We're going to show you how to do the stuff. And it's a commitment. It's a financial commitment, and it's a commitment on all the parts. On our massage therapist, on the doctor, on our personal trainer, on our chiropractor. We're all there to help. The part mindfulness, if you're a spiritual person and you go to church and you can really take all the stressors and give it to the Lord, that's different. But some people, they go to church, they say they believe, and they say they're not going to worry about things, and yet still all they do is worry. They say they pray, and then they don't really believe it. So if you're don't pray if you're not going to believe it. You know, you really need to get to a point where you can get rid of those stressors and believe that those stressors are going to be gone. Because the only person on the face of the earth you can control is yourself. You can't control your kid. You can't control your grandmother. You can't control your parents. Nobody. You can't control your boss. It's how you deal with it. So control yourself, because God gave you control over yourself. Meditation, we teach you how to do that so that you can actually free your mind of that stuff. How long does this program take? 5% of your time. It's a 6-hour commitment every week. That's 5% of your time. And what's included? Last couple of slides. What do you get for this program? You get a total health and fitness assessment. We do what we call a wellness score. We measure how you're doing, including your body fat analysis, your cholesterol level, your diabetes level. We check all of that. We put it into a computer, and it tells us you're an A, you're a B, you're a C, you're a D, you're an E, you're an F. And most people that we do who start the program are either Ds or Fs. And they usually improve 1 to 2 scores over the 8-week period. So we do that. We do your body composition analysis. We don't just put you on a scale and say you weigh 250 pounds. We tell you how much fat you have, how much water you have, how much muscle you have. We give you the good nutritional program, how to eat. We give you a book to follow. We give you 8 adjustments on your chiropractic, 1 a week. You do the personal training 2 to 3 times per week, depending on your schedule. We do a weekly massage. We give you meditation instructions. And we weigh you in every week. Not every day, every week. Weigh-in should be weekly. You shouldn't weigh yourself every day. I'm not a, I can't do that. And the best time to weigh is before you exercise, right? And with as minimal clothes on as possible. In the morning. So after you finish the program, we'll reassess you and we give you a plan. You can either do a maintenance program with us, or if you don't want to do it, we give you some home exercise program. We tell you how you should eat. You get 8 canisters of Ultra Meal, which is a meal replacement. Say, I can't eat 5 meals a day. So here's 2 meals. You do these 2 blended shakes, and that takes up 2 of your meals. But you still have 3 other meals to fill in. You get omega-3 fish oil, which is important for your brain, for your joints, for soreness, for your heart, for your cholesterol level, for your sex hormones. Omega-3 is just basically, you need to be on it. Even if you're healthy, you should be taking it every day. And then you get a kit, a wellness kit. We give you the manual so you can log your journey. You get a heart rate monitor and a blender for your shake. And the home exercise program when you're not here, because we still want you to do activity when you're not training with the personal trainer, at least an additional 2 days a week. And then the lab work, because we have to check your cholesterol and your sugar and other inflammatory mediators in your body. So let me ask you, if you had to put all of what I just said together, how much would you think this program would cost? Tochi? If you add everything up, not what you know, but if you add everything up, yeah. Well, I think that, it would cost quite a bit, but whatever it is, it's not what we charge. Because when we decided to bring this program to Anwan, to me, if breaking even is pretty much all we want. I just want to get people on a path to wellness, and I want to educate them. That's why we have our foundation, the Picture of Health Foundation. That's a non-profit. We make no money on that. We go out in the community, we educate kids, church members, community centers on how to live healthy, to prevent disease. But with this program, we show you how. Telling somebody to do it is one thing. Showing them how is different. And that's what the program does. So, why would you want to be healthy? What's one reason for you to be healthy? Liz?
To enjoy life more.
To enjoy life. To have a little bit more cocktails, right? Why do you want to be healthy? No. You. Uh-huh.
I don't want to be a burden to my family. It's one thing to not be healthy and pass away. It's another thing to not be healthy, to be here, but not be able to take care of yourself and need help either from your family or need to be medicated.
Excellent. What about you, Mr. Collis? Why do you want to be healthy?
So I can do what I want to do when I need to do it.
For you.
Yep. And my family as well.
Okay.
My son, yeah.
So you want to be able to do the things that you want to do, so you need to be able to feel healthy, correct? Certain activities that people like to do, they want to be able to maintain those activities. You know, you may like to play the piano, or you may like to sing, or you may like to dance. So you want to be able to continue these things, because that's how we enjoy our lives. But sometimes people just want to be healthy, as this young lady said, just because of their family. And this is my why. That's my wife and 3 of my boys and 1 of my daughters there. I have two sons that are actors. The other one works for Netflix. And, you know, basically I don't want to be a burden to them when I get older. I want to still be able to beat them in a 5K. You know, that really gives me, well, Thanksgiving is D-Day. They're all coming home, and we're going to go do the gobble jog in Marietta. So they're already talking up stuff. So it's going to be a pretty nice morning run. But yeah, you know, I do this for my family. I love them dearly, and I just like to see them grow and have grandkids. I have 3 grandkids now, but I want more. So that's why I had so many kids, so I can have more grandkids. This way I can love them up and send them home. Right? So that's my why. And so we all have our whys. So what's next? What are you going to do tonight before you leave? You're either going to decide you're going to do the program, or you can do what we call a wellness score, which is costs $349, and we pretty much do the assessment and tell you where you are. You can commit tonight and get $500 off the program, and you can put, when you commit, you can put $399 down, or you can pay the whole thing in one. And if you think, well, I should do it, shoulda, coulda, woulda, that's the thief of your health. So you don't want to just not act. You want to act on it, okay? So I just hear too many people saying, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that, sounds good, and then they never really commit to it. So that's the cost of the program. If tonight, it's normally a $3,000 program. If you register tonight, you get $500 off, $24.95. We have a shorter program for people who not sure. They can pay half of that amount and get started. So decide, schedule a wellness score, or commit. And we're going to open up for a couple of questions.
You said we should eat 5 meals a day. What consists of, you know, is that 5 meals, 3 meals, and 2 snacks?
Well, you see, the snack portion, it should be really 5 meals. And a meal should consist of a protein, and good healthy vegetables, and some fat. 10, you know, if you look at gram-wise, it should be 20 grams of protein, 30 grams of carbs, and 10 grams of fat. So when you look at you know, they use this fist, right? And they say, this thumb, that's 10 grams of fat. The fifth is protein, 20, and then the carbs should be this. So let's say you have a chicken thigh or a breast. You have some fat, some healthy fat, olive oil or whatever you season, and then your broccoli, your portion size. So that's how you do it. And you always have your fist with you, so just... Right? So that's how it is. Are we doing the close? Who's doing the close? Okay. So we have our personal trainer who's been with us a few months, and he's going to come up and say a few words for you guys. Michael Scogan. Thank you, guys.
I'm Michael. I'm a personal trainer, and if you choose to take on 8 weeks of wellness, you will be
She's
training with me.
laughing.
And we got Steven here, and I've been training him for a
She's
little while.
laughing at my-
And, who says Steven, am I all right personally? But Dr. Christie said most of the things that I was going to say about the wellness score. There's Mr. Schultz again, who's also part of it. Stop touching that now. I'm glad that everybody made it out here because it is tough to make a decision on health, and it's one of those things we put on the back burner. And like Dr. Christie said, things come in the way. It's relationships become family, and they become big. And it's easy to throw things back. School becomes a job, becomes a promotion. It's easy to put those things on the back burner, and it'll just stay back there. And thing is that it may be souring back there, it may be even worse. And that's one of those things that I encourage everybody to just push. You heard it before. You'll feel better. You'll want to back today. You'll have more will. Everything about the score, I was just going to back on that and say that, we tested things like your blood sugar level, you do a full blood test, what else? Your intra and extracellular water, you get your lean mass, your fat mass, all the different things that make up who you are as a person. So, again, that's only $350, which is a great deal on blood testing and being able to see what's going on. You don't even have to jump into any weeks of wellness program right away with that either. It's good to have, I think, a good look at your entire health. So you can look down and say like, okay, I weigh this much, but so much of it is lean body mass, that's good for me, but my HbA1c is high, but my cholesterol is low. Like, you have something to look at that you can improve now. And that wellness score can be a good decision maker after you look at it, you analyze it, and you decide, hey, I want to improve this. Now that I see what it is and I see where I'm at, I want to take the next step. So that's all I really have to say about that. Again, Mr. Schultz, Steven, we're seeing a lot of people make a lot of progress. I haven't been in it long. Again, I've only been there for a couple months, but everybody that's joined has seen significant changes in their life, not just in their own health, but that transfers out into how your relationships are, how everything is impacted by that. Does anybody have any questions for me? I'm a personal trainer. I can answer, something else like Dr. Christie, obviously, but I can answer some things if you have any.
Where do you train at?
We actually have a gym downstairs across from the urgent care. We're not standing above it, but if you stand in that room, you can do that above it. And if anybody wants to go down there afterwards, I can walk down there and get everybody to run through, and just if you want to see it, just to see it. Well, I encourage anybody, if you have any other questions, we'll be in the back after if you don't want to ask them in front of everybody. And I encourage anybody to go ahead and talk to us about the wellness score, about 8 weeks to wellness, about training on its own, about any of this stuff. Anything else? Not a wonderful night then.
You did great.